Um, this isn't where you guys are going to be reading, so you just need to listen to me. So let's talk about computer settings. Okay, computer settings. Computer settings have changed a lot over the years. Okay, used to, one of the very first computers, it took up a whole room. This whole room would be filled with one computer. No desks, nothing else, just computer. Because it took so much for it to run how it needed to. Okay? Now, we have pretty much a computer on our phones, right? So pretty much now we can walk around with a computer in our pockets. And then we have laptops, and those can be really skinny. Like we have our Chromebooks and things like that, right? So, they've come a long way. But we talk about using flash drives and stuff still, the little sticks, right? We talk about that. But when we, used to, a lot of ways that information got saved and transferred were discs, okay? They were square and they held the information, okay? So listen to this brief, informational reading, okay? So the setting of this story is in 1980, when computers operated differently. Although the basic parts, the inputs and output devices, remain the same, programs are now more user-friendly. People using computers can operate a program without knowing an operating or programming language. So used to, there are certain things that we do or games that we play, and you can tell it what it needs to do, right? You program it, you tell the object on the computer, take 4 steps forward, then turn right. Okay? Have you guys ever done anything like that? Or seen anything like that? Well, used to be able to run a computer, you had to know the certain codes and language that computer took. You couldn't just go back there and start typing and clicking. You had to know specifically what each thing did and what you need to type to get it to do it. Does that make sense? Earlier, a user had to be very specific when typing in commands. The results could be very confusing to anyone unfamiliar with the language. Today, the mouse is used to tell the computer to run the program. The task is performed without having to type in any information. The computer in the story is old and requires the user to type in simple commands such as run, print, and stop. So they didn't have the mouse to tell you to go and click on this and do this and go over here. You had to type print, run, start, stop, close, things like that, okay? So listen to these vocab words that are going to pop up in our story. Everyone in the room could hear the man's boisterous laugh. What do you think boisterous means? Charisma? Loud, good. A security alarm sounded when the thief broke into the bank. We all know what security means, right? It means to, especially in this sense, it kind of means a safety measure, right? Ashley's top priority after school each day was to do her homework. Priority means what?
Her top goal to get it finished.
Right, it was very important, so it was the top thing on her list, right? In solving the mystery, Stephen used clues to find the information leak. What does it mean by leak here? What does it mean by leak? Other than Bella, I know more people know it than this. Lincoln, what does it mean when I say I need to find the information leak?
It means to find the information is coming out.
Right, so who's sending out the information when they're not supposed to, right? When there's an informational leak, that usually means someone. How many of you have seen Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Okay, where he closed down his shop because people were selling the recipes the secret recipes, right? There was a leak. Someone was in there taking his information and selling it, right? That's kind of the same thing. He could not understand the unintelligible voices. If they're unintelligible, they're unable to understand. Okay? So sometimes if you're ever watching caption, you ever have caption, which means the words on TV. So if you ever have the caption on and you'll say unintelligible voices, that means you can hear someone saying something, but you don't know what they're saying. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Go ahead and look at page 66, and I'm going to start reading. Project Submarine. Kyle Ellis, an average kid with an above-average machine, uses current technology to unravel a security problem. Although today Kyle's computer may look strange, outdated, and useless, in the 1980s it was the most recent in computer technology. This trend of computer improvement will even make tomorrow's computers outdate today's. Kyle Ellis punched the enter button. A bright blue error sign flashed at him as the computer started to beep. Oh no, Kyle slumped back in his chair. Keep trying, Mr. Javanwitz said. Ever since your dad set up this homework checking program, you've always got your homework done in microseconds. His boisterous laugh filled the office. Kyle typed end program and pulled out the disk. Look at this, Kyle, Mr. Javanwitz said. Mr. Javanwitz was Mr. Ellis's partner and an earnest computer fan. He enjoyed Kyle's afternoon visits to the office. Mr. Javanwitz started another program, and a chessboard appeared. The computer has had me in check all afternoon, but I think I have a way around it. He punched 2 keys, and his queen skipped across the screen and landed beside the computer's bishop. The computer hummed for a moment, then moved the knight forward. Checkmate, flashed the screen. Ugh, Mr. Javanwitz typed onto the screen. So, what's happened so far is Kyle is in school, right? He goes to his dad's work. His dad works on computers. And his dad made a computer program for him to do his homework, right? That will help him do his homework when he gets home. So Mr. Javanwitz is helping him. And they take the disk out because it's not working right now. So they take it out. And Mr. Javanwitz is now playing chess with the computer. Just like when you guys play a game on the phone, or if you guys play any like little video games and you're not playing against someone else, but it's the computer or the screen making the moves, that's the same thing here. Okay? Well, I'll see you tomorrow, he said, closing the program. Good night, Kyle said. He carefully shut down the computer. The door closed behind Mr. Javanwitz, and Kyle sighed. Computers could do more things than he had ever imagined. They seemed able to do anything, or at least almost anything. But just yesterday, Dad had said they couldn't think up an answer to a security problem at work. With the program Kyle had, he could check his math, but the computer wouldn't just give the answer straight out. Just then, the door from the laboratory opened, and a man in a white lab jacket stepped in. He set his toolbox on the office floor and held the door for the repairman. The edge of his slacks caught on the lid of the toolbox and popped it open. A disc lay on the upper shelf. Kyle could see that the other shelves were empty, and he looked again. The words Project Submarine had been penciled on the label of the disc. Then he noticed the lower label, High Priority, Do Not Remove from Security Area. So what does this mean? What just happened? These 2 men walked in. The tool gates popped open, and what did he see? Bella?
A disc with a label of Project Submarine.
Project Submarine. And what else did it say on there? Samara? Do not remove, right? Do not remove it from the security area, which means this guy's probably doing something he shouldn't be doing. It's in a toolbox. He's pretending to be a repairman, and he's removing this disc, right? Kyle's head spun. Dad had just mentioned the security problem at the labs. This was the leak. These men were stealing the secret information. Quickly and silently, Kyle snatched up the disc. He slid it under his chair cushion. His hands felt cold and clammy, but a drip of sweat fell off his forehead as he pretended to adjust the computer. "Hey," the man in the lab jacket said, reaching for the toolbox. "What happened to the... Kid, did you take a disc from the box?" He leaned over Kyle, frowning and clenching his fist. Kyle grabbed the homework disc off the desk. "Do you mean this?" he asked. He tried to keep his voice steady, but he could hear it rise in his throat. "Yeah," the man said. He snatched it and stuffed it into his jacket. "Is that the right disc?"
No.
"No." "Which one did Kyle just give him?" "Boileon, what did he just give him?" His homework disc, right? The repairman narrowed his eyes. "I don't like the looks of this, Jack," he said. A loud bell began clanging. "The alarm!" Jack ran for the door. The bolt shot closed. "Let's get out of here," the other man said. He pulled on the handle. The door didn't budge. "Come on," he said. He flung the toolbox against the window, shattering the glass. He kicked the broken pieces out of the way. "Here's our ticket out, Jack." He grabbed Kyle by the arm. Kyle felt himself lifted out the window. Then Jack tossed him into the van. He fell backward among a jumble of machines. The other man jumped into the driver's seat next to Jack, whatever. The wheels screeched as the van jerked to life and sped into traffic. As the van swayed from side to side, Kyle grabbed the seat in front of him and hung on with all his might. They sped down the highway, passing cars and trucks in a swerving roller coaster ride. A siren sounded. The drivers darted in front of a car and turned into a side street. Swinging the back of the van in a wide arc, the ride was a series of stops and starts, jerks and jumbles until they reached an old warehouse. "We'll hide here," said the man who had driven the van. "I'll call Wendell. We'll have to take what we have and go." Jack dragged Kyle into the warehouse and tied him to a pole. Then he set up the computer. "The more you find out, the bigger problem you're going to be, kid," Jack said, "'cause what are we going to do if you find out too much?" Kyle dropped his eyes to the floor. Jack laughed and hit his knees. The computer beeped, and Kyle peered at it without raising his head. A game flashed on the screen. "You're really going to find out too much this way," Jack piloted his spaceship through asteroids, flying saucers, and enemy rockets, laughing to himself as he shot them down. So, that was him kind of being facetious, right? Is he really going to figure out something based on that? He's watching him playing a game, right? So he's not doing any of the top secret stuff yet. He's sitting there playing a video game. Do you think that's a good idea? You just kidnapped a kid and stole this and you're sitting here playing a game? No. A car horn honked. Jack ran to the door. A mumble of unintelligible voices reached Kyle's ears. He pulled at the rope on his hands and felt it loosen. Several men walked toward him and Kyle held still. "Well, Harvey, did he say anything else?" Jake asked. "We'll just have to lay low for a day or two," said Harvey, the man who had driven the van. "Let's check the program we got." He pulled out Kyle's homework program and stuck it into the machine. "Run," he typed. The disk drive hummed and then the screen lit up with a program. So these are codes, okay? So if he puts 010, that means to randomize. 020 for I equals 1 to 10. So these were homework programs that his dad programmed on there. "What?" Jake shrieked. He ripped the disk out of the computer. "Look, just look at this homework program. I bet that kid." His eyes turned to Kyle. Kyle's heart raced. "What should I do?" he thought. "I've got to think." Jake shoved the disk at Kyle's face and broke it into a worthless mess. "We're going to get the program," he fumed. "Like you said, Harvey, here's our ticket." He tapped Kyle's chest. "Let's go call the boss and arrange the details," Harvey said. Kyle heard them lock the door as they walked out. He pulled at the ropes. They seemed to loosen more, but he wouldn't fit between them and the pole. As Kyle twisted and turned, the rope caught on a nail. He tugged and the rope popped loose. Kyle fell forward onto his knees. Wasting no time, he scrambled to his feet and raced to the door. The men had locked it from the outside. Kyle searched the windows, and the lowest one was at least 20 feet from the ground. He paced the floor. If only computers could figure out a problem like this, he thought to himself. He stopped in front of the computer. The file of disks lay in a jumble. Kyle stuck one into the slot and typed run. The computer began to list names and addresses. Kyle saw his dad's company name flash by. He murmured. Kyle stuck in another disk. Quickly, he glanced through the files and chose the ones that looked most important. He checked a few more disks, planning to find a safe place to hide them. Then he ran the program titled Warehouse. A set of floor plans covered the screen. Kyle reached for the return key. Then two words caught his attention. Emergency exit. Kyle bit his lip. If an emergency exit wasn't blocked, it would be immediately behind him. He pulled out the disk. The front door rattled. Kyle scooped up the disks and raced for the emergency exit. A big stack of empty boxes blocked his way. Kyle shoved them aside. The emergency exit sign, covered with an inch of dust, lay shattered where it had fallen on the floor. Kyle attacked the door, praying it would open. The hinges creaked and gave way.